tell us how your journey started. You've brought technology to bus travel, which is the least technology industry. So how did you even think about it?
Yeah, actually we are incidental entrepreneurs that way. I was working in Texas Instruments in Bangalore, and my parents were from Hyderabad, and I used to take buses frequently to go back to Hyderabad. And for the 1 odd year that I worked in Bangalore, every time I went to this travel agent, he could get me a seat. Except for Diwali of 2005, when I went to him, in his usual way, he made a few phone calls to the bus operators, and he couldn't get me a seat. So just when I was leaving his office, he told me that maybe another agent could get me a seat. And that really intrigued me as to if this person is an agent for buses, he should be able to tell me whether or not there's any bus that evening from Bangalore to Hyderabad. Why is he not able to get, and why is he asking me to go to another travel agent? And so I got curious and I went to this other travel agent. He also made 2-3 phone calls, couldn't get me a seat. So that way I went to the third travel agent. He also did the same thing. So I went to 4-5 travel agents, but ended up not getting the seat. So I ended up in Bangalore for that long weekend. And the next day when I woke up, I was feeling guilty because maybe there was a 10th travel agent to whom if I had gone to, maybe he would have called the 30th bus operator, and maybe the 30th operator had a seat which went vacant from Bangalore to Hyderabad, right? And if indeed that operator had a seat which went vacant from Bangalore to Hyderabad that evening, it was a big loss to him because he would burn the same fuel, same driver, everything, but he would have gone with one seat vacant. And it was a loss to all the 3-4 travel agents that I went to because they just happened to call the wrong bus operators, right? And it was a big loss to me as a customer because I wanted to be home for the festival and I just couldn't be there. And then being an engineer, the solution was very obvious to me, right? Why can't there be a computer system where all the bus operators just mention how many buses they run and what's the live inventory at that moment in time. And I go to the first travel agent, he just logs onto that system and says which of the operators have a seat and then calls only that operator. So that was the solution. And I thought, why can't such a system exist? So I wrote a mail to all my flatmates. We were all bachelors staying in a flat. So I wrote to all of them saying, I couldn't get a seat and can we create this system? And during those days, open source was big. So we actually wanted to create an open source system which we would give to the bus operators for free. And then we would benefit as consumers and etc. So that's how the journey started, and then one thing led to another.
So no, it's not that simple. One thing led to another. So you wrote to all your friends, and they also happened to not get tickets to go anywhere, and they were around.
No, they all had gone home, and I think that was also lucky that way because I was alone. If there was somebody else, I think we would have just gone to a movie or something and spent the weekend. But the thing that only I was there, or the 7 friends, and I had all this time to just think over and feel bad about not getting a seat, I think made me think of a solution.
So did you actually start working on the solution over that weekend?
No, I mean, not technically, but yes, I went back to the travel agent to find out how it happens and just to validate if this would work and etc. But the agent told me that many people had tried and it doesn't work, and he advised me not to leave the job and do anything like this and etc. and all that.
So did you leave the job to do this, or did you keep the job and do this in the evening for a while?
Yeah, actually, because it was supposed to be an open source thing, we continued to do it in parallel to our jobs. And the thing was, we didn't know programming, the Javas and the .NETs and etc. I was working for Texas Instruments, a VLSI designer. So actually, we went and bought books on how to write software. I knew C++, but I didn't know the other software. So we literally started with a Hello World program, which rendered on the website. So it took about 6-7 months for us to come up with a prototype software, which was doing the basic necessary thing.
So when did you know that, okay, this is not going to be an open source, but this is going to be a product? So you wrote the code, now the system is available. So now you start going to travel agents to see if they're willing to take it. So what did they say?
Basically, because we had to create a software for bus operators, we had to know their processes as to how they work, what they do, what should the workflow be, and etc. So we went to many bus operators asking them how they do and etc. So almost all of them shooed us away. Said, in fact, one of the bus operator, when we were like sitting in his office, there was a customer who came in to buy a ticket, and he was showing that operator, that customer, and telling me, "You think that guy will buy a ticket? Look at them. I mean, he was not a sophisticated person, and he said, I mean, guys like this travel in bus. What are you thinking? You'll create a solution and etc." But we got lucky with one bus operator. So what was happening with this bus operator was the next generation was taking over the business, and that young person happened to be an engineer, and then got into the business. So we stuck off very well. And then he had appreciation for technology, so he gave us a chance, and he walked us through the whole workflow, and that's how we started building the software. But the strange thing is, after we built the software for 6-7 months, when we went back to the same operator to make him use the software, he wasn't using it. He wasn't buying a computer, right? He was just...
Still the young person.
Yeah, still the young person, right? And then all kinds of things come to your mind. I mean, why is he not buying? Is he not buying because it is expensive for him? Is he not buying because he can't pay for it? So our mind was running on those lines, and then we said, okay, we'll give it for free, and then we'll buy hardware for him. We'll get him internet connections and etc. and all that. But that's when we got some mentors from TiE. Those mentors asked a question which almost changed our life, right? The Redbus life. So they said this bus operator is buying a bus which is worth 1 crore, right? And on any route he has to buy 2 buses because one bus leaves from this side and another bus on that side. So he's spending 2 crores to open up a route. And you are thinking that he can't spend 20,000 to buy a computer for that route. There's something else to it. So that's how we shifted from that journey to another journey to explore why is he not buying. And then we discovered that he's not buying because he's not seeing value in it. So that's how we then dropped giving software to him, and then we just chased the value proposition to him, which was we then revisited the whole problem statement, sat with him and said, what is that one thing that you need help? So he said, I don't need computers, I don't need RS leakages, I don't need any of these things. And we asked him, what is that you need? Then he said, I just need sales. I mean, if I can sell 100 more seats, I can buy 4 more buses, right? And that became like a big insight for us. Then we dropped this whole software to bus operators, and then we launched the consumer side, which is redbus.in website. But the challenge was, how do you have this real-time inventory on the website when the bus operator is not computerized, right? Then, but we had to solve this problem, right? So then we kind of thought laterally and then came up with a solution saying that, okay, for the consumer, it appears like live, but in the back end, every time a consumer comes in and says, I want the seat, we call the bus operator and take that inventory.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we did things like that. Some of the venture capitalists didn't want to invest in us because they said, this is not scalable. How long will you do this? Things like that. But somehow we continue to do it. And the
How many people did you have in the back end doing this?
So we had about 6-7 people. We didn't have so many sales. Then slowly, I think, as the sales improved, the bus operators' belief and trust in the system improved. So then slowly converted him to SMS-based. Then from there converted him to a computer-based. And then by our 3rd year, we were selling enough seats. That's when we revisited launching the software for bus operators. So we went back, picked up that code, and wrote the software for bus operators. And then we estimated that we'd get 100 bus operators in 5 years from then. Because just 5 years back, I mean, I think sometimes I'm like astonished as how the world changed in 5 years, right? 5 years back, there was no internet, trustworthy internet connectivity in India, and that too in rural areas where the bus operators are there. So we estimated that 100 will happen in 5 years. But in the 3rd year of Redbus, when we launched, just in 365 days, we signed up 400 bus operators who got computerized.
Wow.
Overnight. That was like huge. And the thing that was driving that whole thing was that if they could make their inventory live, they would get more sales. And that was the only thing that was driving. And they didn't mind using this sophisticated computer system. And many of their staff were illiterates. They couldn't even read, but they were operating computers because they knew they had to press this. And we had all these color codes, right? I mean, we moved away from the words like booked, reserved, ladies, and etc. We converted it to color codes. So the illiterate could know that, okay, if it's red, it means this. If it is green, this means this. And he became an expert overnight on operating that system. And today it feels so good when you walk on the street and the bus operator has a computer or a travel agent has a computer.
So how many bus operators are there?
So
in
there
India?
actually, we thought we are done with aggregating the bus operators, but even today, we get 30, 40 bus operators onto the system every month. So actually, even we don't have the count as to how many bus operators exist in India.
How many are there on your system?
So right
today?
now, we should have probably 1,500 to 2,000 bus operators. So it's been this is a year-old information, and I can't quote the numbers now because we'd sold the business.
You sold it only last year,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So in that 7 years, how many tickets did you sell?
So we were selling about 1 million seats a month when we actually, that was through Redbus. Otherwise, through this computer system that we give to the bus operator, almost every seat that he sold went through the computer system. So we became like a Amadeus of bus ticketing in the country.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did they pay you a fee for that bus ticketing system?
Yeah, so
Or
the
is it
interesting thing,
confidential?
no. I think the numbers are confidential, but the model is fine.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing there is because we had a software for bus operators, and we had a software for travel agents, and we had a website for customers. So it so turned out that if we are in the bus stand and if anybody is carrying a printed bus ticket, right, there is some money that is made by us. Even if that doesn't matter whether he's bought with a bus operator or with a travel
With
agent
Red-
or with us, because
Okay.
all these softwares were provided by us.
Great. Great. So I have
Yeah.
one last question for you, which is going to put you on the spot a little bit, which is you sold the company. Do you regret selling it? Should have held on for another few billions of valuations? Or?
No, not at all. I think during this whole journey of entrepreneurship, right, I mean, I think has tamed us well. There's so many things that you go through that you change. So one of the things that the way I changed is look at only the glass half full, right, and all through my life, right, and in this sale, the glass half full is my bank balance is big. Enough that I will not end up spending all that money in my lifetime. So I don't need extra money that way. And today I have the freedom that I have of looking at the world in a very, very different perspectives is absolutely non-tradable for any kind of money.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.